Hello and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop Podcast. I hope you're well, readers. If you're listening to this on the day of release, it is the 12th of January and today is the last day that you can help us hold on to our world's 9th best podcast crown by voting for us in the ENWorld Actual Play Podcast Awards. To do so, you need to go to ENWorld.org. That's E for Eric, N for Noah, world.org. You'll need to register when you get there if you aren't registered already. Scroll down to the Billowing Hilltop Podcast, and any votes you could give us would be greatly appreciated. Who knows how well we might do. All of the links that you need are in the show notes on the very device that you are listening to this podcast on. So, here's hoping. I won't bore you again with all the stuff about ratings and reviews and social media. You've heard it all a million times before. Instead, let us just push on with episode 124 of the Billowing Hilltop Podcast. What's new, Pussycat?
Right, so where are we?
Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here with the mysterious Graham, the glowing form of Dan.
Hello.
The semi-mechanical Paul.
Evening.
And easing himself
Semi-organic,
his corpulent form into his specially adapted high chair, we have Johnny.
Good evening.
I hope you're enjoying your January, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not January.
No, Paul. That's enough.
I love January, mate. Don't you?
Yes, cozy. Honour the format, Paul.
Just the truth.
I don't know where we've got. Should we talk about some rules before we get started?
Do we need to talk about rules?
We do.
We're getting another one wrong, are we?
No.
Oh, I remember.
Not the diamond
Yes.
thing.
Yes. The diamond. So there's been. I have had a bit of
a ruling. Yes.
As you can imagine, the question has been addressed by the D&D community with all the maturity and forbearance that one would expect. Arguments are accepted at face value. There is no snark or trolling. And from that, I've learned basically nothing.
Really?
Reddit is a bit of a cesspool about it. There is somebody who basically says what Dan would like, although of course it would always apply to, Sauce for the Goose and all that, which is that every square that is touched in any way by the reoriented cube is affected. Therefore, it's a hack to get more squares of coverage than you would get with
just make it 50%
laterally aligned cube.
50% or more, and then it would be fine.
50% or more is the most popular counter argument. Is 50%.
But it's the outcome is the same for both. So if I want to get a square, I can reorient the cube in order to get it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that, for example, you get 16 squares with a 20 foot by 20 foot cube. Mm-hmm. If you turn that and say that every single square that any part of that diamond touches, you get more than 16 squares.
Yeah,
you can get loads of squares. I don't think that sounds right.
No.
On the other hand, if you look at the work required, first of all, it's a grid-based
you're
combat.
into the grid versus the
everybody's favourite thing. Well, there's that. There's also the fact that it's got to be practical. Yes, practical yet comfortable. In other words, we've got to be able to. We can't just sit there with Pythagoras every week trying to work out whether or not that's more than 50 or less than 50% of a specific square, depending upon the way that you do it. So, I've got an option.
Mm-hmm.
And the option is that we play a house rule. And the house rule is that we play cubes as spheres, basically. Mm-hmm. That would mean that when you cast a 20-foot cube, it's basically a fireball. Right? Still get
that
the
doesn't
squares.
sound right.
No? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, we don't have to do it.
I think you just rotate it and you just agree what is 50, what is over 50 and what's under 50, just by eye.
There's that problem with that word, isn't there, Johnny?
To do that.
There's that problem with the word agree. It's like we agree the magic.
I don't know that. I don't think we would.
But it's Mike's dungeon, so Mike decides. I don't really care. If you can turn it, then you have to have a rule to be able to turn it, and the 50% thing makes some kind of sense.
So Jeremy Crawford, who is one of the architects of D&D 5th edition, basically said you can turn it, but then did not elaborate on how you adjudicate what's affected. It's not going to happen very often, and we can edit them out. Just as I have edited out the argument that we had, which lasted, I think, 15 minutes.
Nice. No, we didn't.
We could do it. Anyway, so readers, you're listening to us discuss this. You may not have heard very much on this because it really wasn't very interesting. That was the rules thing.
So if you turn it, I'm just experimenting. Sorry, if you turn it kind of like that, the squares.
I'm not looking. I'm looking at my notes.
You probably get less than
where are we?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's close. I think you could make an argument that you can get 16 squares out of that angle. Sorry, I've got it on a weird angle on the green bit.
I can see the squares that are clearly less than 50%.
Yes.
There's only a couple where you'd be like, And I think we'd probably give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker.
There's another way you could do it would be maybe even simpler. You put it on an angle. You pick 16 squares that have to be contiguous.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't choose more than... So you might lose a bit of the back. No gaps. So long as there are no stupid gaps.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, we're going to go with the wisdom of Graham. As always, Graham brings the wisdom.
How does that work?
Because you're going to have a clear intent, which is to be able to target specific people. Right, exactly. Anyway, the point is you can do it, and if we ever get to a discussion where who's in, who's out, when you're not trying to just target a couple of targets, we can apply reasonability. Now, Dan,
what have I done now?
In between sessions. No. You mentioned that you wanted to, or you suggested that we talk a little bit about visions.
Yeah.
Because you were...
I think the thing that I find is, maybe I'm interpreting wrongly, but there's a lot of visions that we've had as we move around as part of a mechanic.
Yes.
And that is supposed to be telling a story. And I think it's supposed to be that story is clear, as in, you know a bit about it and this is what's happening. And I'm looking at it going, well, it could be this or it could be this. I don't know what I'm supposed to read about these things. And so struggling to remember them. As it's
what I think we can do with
it's overcomplicated story which has lost.
I don't think it's overcomplicated.
Lost the thread.
Story is just that I'm not getting what these visions are telling me, but maybe I'm not supposed to.
I think it's too.
You're not picking up what I'm putting down.
I don't know if
the messages are too subtle to understand the picture.
The visions are we aren't going to get into whether or not they're specifically sequential, but they're triggered by certain activities, and so clearly. They can sort of be done in any order, sort of. Right? That's the first thing I would say. Second thing is I'm happy to run you through them. I could give you a summary of the 5 visions that you've seen so far, right? Just like a thumbnail of each one.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then you could have a sense of whether or not you feel like you see any kind of pattern or narrative from that, whilst all of the kind of fruity language, not fruity language, well, all of the kind of, if all of the detail is sort of stripped out. And I can give you a number for each vision as well to help you kind of put them into some kind of... Okay, very quickly, because I don't know that the readers will have kind of got all of this in their heads.
Basically, there's one of them is a town thriving with a sort of king. And then there's another one where, are they giving their power willingly, or are they... anyway, carry on.
Well, the first vision, which you experienced when you first entered the ruins, showed the town in its pomp, as it were. Kulith Mar, back in the day, clearly deep in the past, and you saw a man seated on a great throne, wearing plate armor, and he had a symbol which looked a bit like the rudimentary or an older version of the symbol of Asmodee, an overlapping skull and scythe.
Right.
The throne was at the apex of a large ziggurat, obviously the ziggurat that you've seen. The spire above it gleamed with flashes of white light, and there were thousands of figures gathered in the large open plaza around the ziggurat, and they were chanting rhythmically, and those chants surged like waves on the monolith's shore, and that's it.
Right.
So, king figure in Kulith Mar, when Kulith Mar was a thing, surrounded by adoring worshippers chanting rhythmically. The second
with the
vision,
symbol of Asmodee.
It's the scythe and skull, which is the symbol of Asmodee now. Whether or not there is any kind of... you're not... Okay. The second vision, I'm going to call this vision number 2, but it is not the second vision that you saw.
Right.
You were looking at the peak of the spire, and it was restored. At the moment, it's ruined. And you saw for the first time that there was a 15-foot tall, trapezoid-shaped pinnacle of black rock on top of it, what we're going to call from now on the monolith, that was shimmering and vibrating with waves of energy, and that something strange and horrible was writhing inside its nearly opaque interior. And you saw that monolith snatched away by a huge and enormous red dragon. That was the story of the second vision. The third vision, and this again, I'm doing them in order, not necessarily the order in which you experienced them. This is a vision that you saw when you slew the angels. You saw the torture chamber that you had originally encountered them in, with victims strapped in and wailing and being horribly attended to. There was a handsome man in this room. You think it's the same man from before, and he is facing a 6-armed creature.
Mm-hmm.
The creature has hollow, socketed eyes containing pinpoints of light deep within. Obviously, Makar, the six-armed greebly that you are now currently plagued by. Its flesh was rotting and festering, and it held a jewelled gold box. It presented to the man, and the man opened it using a pair of iron tongs, withdrew a writhing green worm, and his expression changed to one of exultation as he looks upon the worm, and the vision faded. That's vision 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The next vision was one that you saw when you entered the library. In fact, when you touched any one of the flasks containing the weird little worms that were in the library, and you saw the library with the same man. This time he was sitting at a desk. The strange six-armed figure was standing at his shoulder, and the man was studying a collection of worn and pitted bronze discs or plates arrayed on the desk before him. The plates have got weird etchings on them, and they seem to writhe like they're animated at the behest of some sinister will. The grey creature pointed to one of the plates, and a look of sudden comprehension bloomed on the man's face. The man, the creature, and the plates then faded away and are gone. That was the 4th vision. And then the next vision that you saw was when Alessandra drank from the illusionary fountain and ended up with a gullet full of worms instead of revitalizing holy water. And in this instance, you saw Kuluthmar at its height again. Everything pristine, clean, bustling, alive. But the peripheral streets were empty because thousands of citizens had gathered in a mass at the central plaza. In other words, we're sort of back to almost something like an echo of that first vision. Suddenly, foul energy wells from the spire at the centre of the city, sweeping outward and felling the living as it passes. For each creature that falls, you feel a silent but potent sense of wrongness. Some indescribable part of the creature, perhaps its soul, is drawn towards the spire of long shadows to be absorbed by the strange black monolith. As the energy builds around the peak, a shimmering image of a colossal humanoid figure, its body composed of a million writhing worms, takes form around the spire of long shadows, its arms raised in triumph. Yet in another moment, the triumphant pose seems to change to one of rage. The soul-wrenching cry of fury tears from the undulant face. The image shrinks, pulled into the stone monolith. That is the image of this writhy person. Mm-hmm. Imploding with a horrific wet burst. In an instant, the city is quiet again, and as the vision fades, the first signs of unlife spread through the thousands of dead bodies strewn around the ziggurat's base. Clearly, therefore, something has gone wrong. It looked like this creature was effectively part of an apotheosis, some kind of elevation to godhood. It was triumphant, and then at the last instant, it found itself trapped within the monolith. And you've also seen a vision of the monolith with something being trapped within it, being snatched away by a red dragon. Do I need to draw you a picture? That's the visions you've got so far.
So I reckon,
I'm no wiser.
I think it's a battle against law and chaos. So Asmodeus is law, so it's a lawful evil city. This guy, Kyuss, was an apprentice of this weird creature, presumably chaotic. He spreads the worms everywhere. He's promised godhood. There's some foul deed that interrupts his plan, and red dragons, lawful evil, perhaps in an alliance with Asmodeus, trap him, take him off, a bit like that Superman thing, with Zod or whatever.
Yeah.
He's imprisoned in something. That's my theory.
What are the plates?
No idea.
Okay.
Anybody else?
It's as good a theory as any.
Yeah, it's as good a theory as any. I mean, I would kind of say one thing that you could do is take your memory of these things to an NPC.
Ask them.
Yes.
And therefore I can
we'll do that afterwards.
Step in and not as a Deus Ex Machina, just basically explain.
Any other theories? Anybody? What about sessions?
Well, something's gone wrong seems sensible. Yeah, I think Jolly's on a...
Well,
I'm not sure the law versus cat, but certainly it's all gone horribly wrong.
Yes, but was that him, or was that him summoning something which is thought that they were being recalled, but actually ended up with their power sort of broken?
I think we
disbanded or something. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the king. That wasn't Kyuss. It was something else.
Certainly, your sense of Kyuss is the symbol is a green skull, no sickle, but there's maybe a lineage, a kind of heraldic lineage there. And Kyuss is a giant wormy super god.
Yes. Right.
Those two things, I think, are firmly established by your previous adventures.
He's obviously in a pact with Makar. Makar has lured him with something, has promised him something. And we knew a bit about what Makar was about, but I've forgotten.
What you know about Makar is that Makar is an interdimensional arcane space nasty.
Who's up to no good.
I think that we established after you saw the first vision that the young human man with the sickle and the skull motif and the armour, who is also sitting in the library and also in the torture chamber, was human Kyuss.
Yes.
Pre-ascendancy Kyuss.
Yes.
So it looks like you've seen a sort of story of a human ascending to another thing entirely.
But we didn't see the ascension, though. That's my point, is that we saw what was potentially a post-ascension version
moment,
but we don't know that that's a post-ascension version. There could be something else that's about to power the ascension process, was intended to power, but something's obviously gone wrong.
That, I think, would be fair enough. I think we can. That's not.
No, that's good.
That's a decent summary. We have a bit of a narrative, which is that once the city was whole and great, Kyuss was its ruler. It's packed with his servitors. The servitors, by the way, I think we've also established, resemble those that wait. Those creatures that seem to dwell in the lands that wait now and are seen by the city of Evenstar as their greatest threat.
Right.
And then something has gone on involving mass adoration, energy, worms, this thing with 6 arms, and we've seen some kind of process whereby Kyuss has turned into something incredibly wormy. Quite what's going on about the lineage of the different gods that are involved and the specifics, I'm not going to get into that because you've got your theories and I don't want to distract you from them. Let us recap. You're trying to take a rest.
Yes.
In the junk shop chamber that was the lair of the Naga. Does any of this ring a bell?
Yes.
Yeah.
You found a magical item to argue about, which we can, if we really want to waste the rest of this evening,
We didn't.
we could do that instead.
We didn't.
Burple found it.
Okay.
I found
Burple
my
found a
mother's
magical item.
diary.
That's right.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for undermining my,
The advanced
Attempt.
role
But it
playing.
was established.
attempt to finagle a magical item.
He would never.
It was
have worked.
entirely and
Never
openly
have worked.
explained as to what it was.
I know.
So
People may have forgotten. You've
I mean,
just
the thing
reminded
here,
everybody.
Dan, is
No,
that they
absolutely.
can't act upon that knowledge because
Yes,
as
because that
you
would
know,
be
this is the
metagaming.
thing you hate the most.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
metagaming, and this is not a grid-based combat game with perfect knowledge. It's not a chess game. This is a narrative game where people inhabit point of view of specific
That's
characters.
right. Yeah,
You've long argued for this,
I have.
and finally it's paying
And
off.
it's paying off.
The last thing that happened last week, after you established that you were going to try and hunker down and have a rest, I cannot remember if that door is open or closed.
that
So pick.
door is open
The door
It's open.
is open, fine.
with the guard posted outside.
Right, I mean one of you
Yeah.
mean. Okay, not just some
Random
sub-
summoned guard.
thing in the little sentry box.
Rent a guard.
Chap in a busby. The vortex coughed into life, as it were.
After how long?
Not long. Burple went for a bit of a survey around the complex using detect magic to see if there was anything else of interest. He returned. He has produced this book from the scrap heap, which he claims is part of his mother's diary.
Yeah. How long did he need to survey?
In a few turns. He just basically flew around this little collection of rooms. Let's say a couple of turns in each chamber. Let's call it 10 turns. 10 rounds, or whatever you want to call it. So you can... Why? Do you want to cast a spell or something?
No, I was wondering if we were short resting.
Well, I think that the answer is that short rest, it is 1 minute per hit dice that you spend.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that you have the opportunity to short rest and therefore regain your short rest powers and burn a hit dice of healing should you wish to. Should we do that admin now?
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the vortex.
I think Parker would definitely want to do that.
Okay. So somebody can burn a hit dice on Parker's behalf.
I'd really like to long rest, but
Do a couple of.
Well, no, we're going to establish whether or not you get a long rest. This is something that right
He
at the
gets
beginning
10.
of you...
I just rolled.
okay.
I'm going to do a short rest roll.
So you're going to burn a thing. I mean, a short rest is a flexible thing. It's a minute per hit dice.
Yeah.
Okay, I might do 2d12.
So what we're saying, Johnny, is a minute passes before the vortex reactivates. So if you want to spend a hit dice in that minute, that's fine. It doesn't rule out you spending more minutes of hit dice later. It could be something completely normal coming out.
All
of
right,
the
well, I'll
vortex.
just do 1 hit dice rolls.
Spoiler
so I
alert,
get
it isn't. But
5 points.
So have I done my searching and I've come back?
yes, I'm saying that minute could be spent by the others burning hit dice as part of a short rest.
Right, but I don't. But not for me.
Now, the vortex energizes You get the sense that something is travelling through it, or that it is about to do something. Everybody has a turn. What would you like to do?
Well, Sessions and Parker are short resting.
Right.
Alexandra was short resting, but if this is happening after that short rest...
You've had 1 minute so far.
Yeah.
So you can burn 1 hit dice.
Right, so I've done that.
You also get all the benefits of a short rest.
Yeah.
Anything that's a short rest power, you get back.
Yep.
Do you want to just sit still and keep resting, or do you want to react to the vortex?
I'm going to react to the vortex. I'm going to back up out into the corridor, keeping it in view through the open door.
I'm going to do something to... I'm trying to work out what.
Keeping it in view.
Zooms out into the corridor as well.
Yep.
So people are basically bailing out of this room.
Well, I was putting some distance. I guess Parker would move back to the doorway.
Parker's jumping out into the corridor.
He's just retreating.
Bugraft is heading into the corridor.
Burple is going to cast invisibility on himself and hunker down in that corner.
So hunker down just inside the door in the sort of near the scrap pile.
Yep.
Okay.
Bugraft is moving back into the corridor next to Sessions.
Yeah.
Who's just around the corner, and I'm doing a protection from
I
poison
presume
on
Sessions
myself.
is peeking around the corner, so you can all see what happens.
And protection from poison on myself.
There is a sort of cough from the vortex, like it's expelling something. The first thing that appears from the vortex is a cat.
Ooh.
A black cat. It shoots out of the vortex like cats do. Howling. It's a very black cat. It's like a cat of shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of howls and scampers, screeches to a halt, spins to regard the vortex, and hisses. It's a ball of fur. Its tail is up. It's in a state of some agitation. That's the first thing that happens.
Okay.
Accompanying it from the vortex, like the wadding being fired from a cannon, are autumn leaves. Dried brown autumn leaves.
Uh-huh.
They spray out into the room and start swirling and eddying around on the floor.
Something about the woodsman coming.
Who wants to do what now? That's the first thing that happens. Anybody want to do anything?
No.
I'm going to keep the initiative sequence as it was, by the way, just
Okay.
for the purposes of admin. But for the moment, we can just... Everyone wants just to hold position and see what
I'm going to
happens?
ready an
Parker will
action.
move back to Buggy.
I might move, actually.
I'm going to
Okay,
do
so
a
Parker and Buggy
protection
are-
from evil.
I'm going to ready an
spell.
action to fire at anything I consider an enemy coming out of that vortex.
Got it.
I'm
I've
going to
got my
move
sword
a little bit
activated.
back to spread us out a bit more.
I'm just going to do a little quick check on something. Here we go. No, it's not that.
Sneaking around the corner.
I've looked away from the map briefly, and okay, yeah. Everybody's suddenly okay.
I'm just,
fine.
I've got
Yeah. It's fine. It's
taking
fine.
lots of
It's fine.
cover,
Where
but I'm
is
peering
my
around the
I'm looking
corner.
for a spreadsheet. I'm looking for the magic spreadsheet. I don't know.
There's so much magic that you want to give us that you have to have a spreadsheet to keep tabs on it.
No, there is a reason.
It's disappointing.
The next thing that happens, now you're all settled, is that from the vortex emerges a tentacle. Somebody give me a perception check. Somebody who can see relatively... Parker's got dark vision. Burple's got dark vision that's 60 feet.
Yeah.
Just about good enough. Parker, Burple, give me perception checks. The cat hisses.
The dark vision spoiled
21.
by my flaming sword.
Is it, though?
Well, I guess so. Yeah, it would be. wouldn't
Parker also 21.
Okay. It's moving, as you would understand, the tentacle of an octopus to move. It's quite flexible and sinuous. But it seems to be made out of some kind of wood-like material.
Right.
Right? So it's like a sort of hybrid between an octopus's tentacle and a tree branch. It is dotted with suckers. They look suckery.
Sucker.
And also they look weirdly kind of hybrid between something that's... What a shellfish... don't be so shellfish.
Crustacean.
Shellfish
Paul, you know about...
Crustacean.
No, they're not crustaceans either. They haven't got shells. What are they called? Squids and octopi. What are they called?
Oh,
They're not
Thingy pods, cephalopods.
Cephalopods.
Cephalopods. There we go. It's a hybrid between a sort of cephalopodic thing and a tree-like or a plant-like thing. And it starts feeling its way around the floor, like it's like somebody reaching behind a sofa looking for a dropped pound coin. It's feeling around. It's not attacking or doing anything. It looks like it's reaching through from somewhere and having a bit of a feel. What do you want to do now? The cat backs away from it, hissing.
I'm going to run up and pick up the cat.
No.
You're going to run up
And pick up the
try
Don't
to pick up the cat.
It's a cat.
It doesn't want to be picked up. So I'm not quite sure how we do this. I presume you make an attack roll.
Grapple.
To try and scoop it up. Yeah, grapple. What are the... Oh, no.
Try and grab a cat that doesn't want to be grabbed.
Those dreaded rules in all game systems.
It's not too bad.
Isn't it? No. Do you remember the old one where you actually had to have that?
You had to flow chart, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like the flow chart for the...
I think I do an
space shuttle
athletics check, and it's opposed against your athletics or acrobatics check, I think.
Okay, well, you make your athletics check.
So I get +3 on this. 22.
Oof. Wow. Well, you grab it. It is extremely sinuous and difficult to grab, right? I mean, you've tried to
grab it and shove it in the bag of holding.
Sure. Can you
not
make
the demon prince or anything in disguise?
but something weird goes on there when you do that. Can you give me a perception check?
It's extra dimensional.
Okay, fine. No, you shove it in the bag of holding.
And then I move back the rest of my move.
Got it. Anybody else want to do anything? This tentacle is feeling its way around 15, on 20. The floor.
Alessandra's going to stay exactly where she
is. Back around the corner.
Keeping a beady eye on this
corridor.
Yeah, we're keeping our distance, seeing what happens.
Another tentacle comes through. Starts feeling around. The first one has found the scrap heap. It starts rummaging through the scrap heap. Anybody close enough to give me another perception check? Parker, specifically, I think is the person that we're looking for here.
Well, Parker's a bit distracted by the cat.
Well, not anymore, he's not, because the cat is in...
Well, he probably thinks the cat
gone.
He's following the bag now.
Parker is quite interested in the cat. He doesn't quite know why or quite remember why. The tentacles, the second tentacle starts working its way towards the door. You can't tell what the reach of these things are, but it makes it to the threshold, feeling around. So Tentacle 1 is now, it seems to be rummaging through the scrap. Tentacle 2 seems to be heading towards you people. Do you want to do anything else?
Should I do a wall of force?
I think Alessandra's going to shoot, but she's going to shoot to miss. But
the readied action, yeah.
She's going to shoot to miss. So
I presume that you can exercise that kind of discretion in your readied action. Yep.
Why?
To shoot to miss, so the arrow hits the floor and scuttles to kind of like hit into the tentacle rather than trying to pierce it. Just want to see what the reaction is.
Right. Well, I think we can. Yeah.
Do I need to roll in?
Let's see if
he does that.
Let's see if you hit it first. Do you want to hit the tentacle with the arrow or not?
Yeah, I'd like the arrow to brush into the...
Yeah, make a roll.
There we go.
That requires exercise of some skill.
22.
22 is easily enough. You kind of ricochet it into the tentacle.
Yeah.
It's a great big thing, this tentacle. It recoils from the impact of the arrow a little. I would say that arrow is not fired in earnest, so therefore is not doing damage.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed to sort of recoil from that. You certainly don't get a sense that it saw the arrow. There's nothing to see the arrow. It's like, again, the man reaching behind the sofa. It's like a little pinprick or something that causes you to suddenly kind of withdraw your hand or move it. So it recoils a little. That's the sense that you're getting. Anybody else?
I'm shuffling back a bit and asking the guys if I should do a wall of force.
Well, the tentacles continue to explore. Another tentacle comes
It's not
through.
A good thing, is it? It's not going to be friendly.
Knotted and wooden, but at the same time sinuous and flexible. Now you've got... We're going to say that the second tentacle is now quite a way up the corridor. Say 20 feet. Feeling around, you get the sense that maybe it's almost reaching the extreme of where it can reach to.
Sorry, where?
Another tentacle about 20 feet south of Parker, 20 feet north of the door.
Right.
The other two tentacles are now busily working their way through the scrap. Parker, Alessandra, Burple, Buggy, give me perception checks.
5.
25.
17.
Okay, no need for any more rolls. You both notice that the tentacle, now that you can see it a little closer up, is damp and slimy. Looks like it's got that kind of bottom of a pond, oily, gooey mud on it that's sort of slowly dripping away as it feels around.
Have we come across anywhere that has likely to have such a...
What about that creature we fought after the mine that was summoned?
Not like... yeah, but that was made out of the black... oily substance that was in the pool of whatever it was. This is not like that. This is like somebody's dunked a stick into the bottom of a pond and then withdrawn it again.
But what we're really saying is it's come from somewhere else entirely.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
We've got a lot of interdimensional stuff going on here.
It doesn't look like it... Well, it just looks like it's come out of a pond.
Yeah.
Or a lake.
Was there any sign of a pond, Buggy, when you were on the other side?
It could be a Marcus Doombringer thing.
Yes, because there is the lake, isn't there? We went across the lake.
Wasn't the Lake of the Cold Sky?
I will
cats.
Can I
remember the cat will eventually suffocate? So
was there anything to do with the monastery, Parker's monastery? The cats. I seem to remember there was some cats in the monastery.
Nudging towards some kind of...
Yeah, there was something.
Is that right?
There?
Maybe it's one of the monk assassins of shape changed into a cat.
That is very well remembered, Johnny. If only you could remember 2 weeks ago, as opposed to... Or even last week.
Why?
No, nothing. So...
Was there a cat last week?
You came through from there. What was on the other side?
Well, I didn't see any cats, I don't think.
No, but what was the environment?
Well, it was like a shadow world, a bit like the one when we went with this phase spider.
Right. Was there a lake or anything?
The lake was empty.
What lake? Oh, this lake.
The Sea of Worms.
Yes. Sea of Worms. Yeah. Okay.
I could see this vortex and also that evil fountain that Paul drank from, sort of from the other side. Then there's just the sort of these rooms, but
I hate to step in, but this is not a game of like whatever. The lake was not empty.
Oh, it was black. Oh, right. It was filled with water, though, not worms.
That's right.
So it could have come from there.
Came out there.
Yes, it sounds like it's come from there.
Right.
And you didn't see a cat?
I don't think so. Mike, did I see a cat?
No, you didn't see a cat.
Did you see anything else that might not have been?
Somebody give me an insight check or an intelligence roll or something. I mean, I don't know why this is difficult because everybody's trying to remember stuff or not.
I think there was something about the Grey Woodsman.
Okay.
That's kind of reflective of my actual position.
Sessions gets 23 on insight.
23. What Sessions? No, not Sessions, actually.
No.
Everybody but Sessions.
Alessandra gets a 20.
A 20?
Yeah.
Well done, Alessandra. Thank God. Alessandra remembers that when you were in the shadow world...
Oh, of course, yeah.
Fighting the spider, Sessions obviously at that point was not with you, which is why Sessions couldn't roll then. You did see a black cat slink out of the shadows at one corner of the chamber that you were fighting the spider in and slink back into the shadows in the other corner. That's all.
Right.
That's all that was for.
Oh.
Okay, so this is
shadow world probably holds the key. We haven't found anywhere. Oh, so there's the place south. We need to explore there. Okay.
The cat good or bad?
Well,
just cat.
Could always throw it in the Sea of Worms. Probably break the adventure. It's probably the thing you're not supposed to do. I don't know. What should I do with the cat, guys?
Can Parker and Buggy and Alessandra give me insight checks? And then we're going to give you all a turn of activity.
Parker gets a...
Alessandra, Buggy. Yeah.
Parker gets 20.
This thing... It can't sniff the air, right? But I can't think of another way of describing what it's doing. But the tentacle that is coming up the corridor towards you, you definitely get the distinct sense, Parker, that it is, as it were, onto you. You don't know that it can actually reach you, but you get the distinct sense that it is sniffing the air, like it's got a sense of you, it's looking for something. And you, or something about you, not necessarily specifically you, Parker, is the something that it is looking for.
We're holding something it's interested in.
Oh, the cat.
Oh, it might be specific.
Right, what do you want to do now?
Maybe
what do you want to do now? Let's push on.
It always comes down to, are we going to fight it?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking lightning bolt.
From whom to whom?
From my swords onto that tentacle.
How healthy and spelled up are people?
I'm low on spells.
Very low on spells.
I'm okay for hit points, but yeah, I'm pretty low on spells.
I think we're about half in terms of party strength overall.
Yeah.
So we don't have much of an option, do we?
Well, we can
keep retreating and retreat. We can retreat and see if it comes after us.
We can dimension door.
We can dimension door.
Is it coming out?
Back up, except that
vortex.
Worms seem to be dropping down from above. We've got the go back to Marcus scroll, don't we?
We've got the southern side of the lake.
Yeah.
We should go next.
Yeah, but
this thing's not coming out the vortex. It's reaching out. It can't reach any further.
We could just stand around and wait, see what happens next.
How fast did these tentacles seem to move?
Currently, they're moving, rather appropriately, they're moving tentatively.
Right.
As in, again, it's my image of the man or the person feeling behind the sofa for something they've lost. They're not confident in terms of the way that they're moving around. They seem to obviously have a scent of something. They seem to be interested in something particular, or at least one of them is.
I guess the question I'm asking, you implied that it's reached as far as it can reach. Are we understanding properly?
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, you want a definitive answer, like, I'm safe if I stand here. Clearly, that's not something that you're going to be able to pick up, right? But, you have to let the wheel of days turn for the time being.
Who's the time being?
No, let's not get into that now, Paul. But you feel like it's running out of tentacle.
Okay.
I don't mind hanging back and watching if you guys want to move round.
I think I'm ready to retreat if the tentacle moves further forward.
Yeah.
Move towards the room, the lobby.
Sense.
Long sleep in the lobby. He'll move in that direction.
Yeah, heading
as soon
back
as
to
things start
where
to move.
Overraft.
That's the way you know.
And same with sessions.
Okay, so you're all readying to back off if the tentacle comes any further. Well, yes and no. It tries to come further. It can't actually move much further. It makes about another 2 or 3 feet, and then clearly it's at some sort of extremity. It's feeling, it's sniffing, it's feeling around for something. Whether or not it's something that's on you or about you that's specific to you, whether or not it's just generally attracted, maybe it's just attracted to warm bodies in general.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 tentacles, they seem to be discarding stuff. So they're looking through the rubbish pile and they're picking stuff up, and they're clearly not happy with what they're picking up, and they're sort of tossing it aside. So there's a bit of chaos going on in the room to the south.
Maybe it's looking for a shard. Could be looking for a shard.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
I think you should let the cat out.
Let the cat out of the bag.
Hey?
I'd like to take a long rest.
Me too.
Do you all want to back off and leave these tentacles to their work?
Yes.
They clearly can't reach any further.
Yes. Should we take it in turns and take a long rest? And just keep an eye on this thing?
This room.
Oh, this place
so
is
we're doing
as
a
good as
long
any.
rest
I'm
in
gonna
this
take a long
room
rest.
with the desiccated bodies.
Yeah, I'm taking a long rest.
All the non-preserved beeb-dobies.
Right. What am I doing about the cat? Am I letting it out?
Let it out of the bag.
Yeah.
There's no cat.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Right.
God.
Can we push the button?
Push the button.
Me.
Push the long rest button.
And I will push the button as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a shame.
Sorry, but that's the way it works. Yeah. You hear a high-pitched, whispery bad guy voice, number 3, echo through the chambers. You hear it go,
Yes. At last. Good night.
Right, we're done.
8 hours. It's about 8:15 in the morning of... Ooh, let me check my infallible calendar.
Are the tentacles still there?
Yes, my question.
Hold up.
It is just
Weekday, the 10th of Fart. It's basically time for breakfast, or in Session's case, third breakfast.
Yeah. I'm casting a death ward on myself.
The tentacles disappeared quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
10-15 more minutes of them feeling around. The one that extended towards you specifically, chaps, joined the other 2. There was a lot of rummaging around, and then obviously they got bored or decided that they weren't going to find what they were looking for, and they wound back in to the vortex, and everything settled down again.
Excellent. Please, we didn't have to fight that thing. Okay, let's go to the south.
South. Yeah, south.
I need to just roll
stuff.
I need to roll a dice about my flying.
Isn't a saving
wings.
throw or a perception check?
Miss my wings.
Right, so you're heading round back to the lobby, back to the lake. Is that what you're doing?
Well, we can go this way.
You're going to stand...
We can go the other way.
You can head south
can we jump
towards the Naga chamber, but then take a left just beforehand, 20 foot beforehand, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to a little side passage that leads to a spur of the lake. The lake is now, effectively what we're talking about here is a body of water, like when they put all those floaty little plastic balls on the top of a swimming pool. There's lots of dead worm bodies floating on the surface of the water, rippling as the water moves. But amongst them are an increasingly large amount of live worms. Live worms are still dripping down from above, from the aperture above. It's not a deluge. It's tens, not thousands.
But it's constant.
Yes, I mean, it's very difficult. You've not been monitoring it if you were worrying that maybe it would start with a trickle and then turn into a flood, that has not happened. You can head south, you can turn left. As you do so, you get quite close to all of you, I know you don't like perception checks.
I love perception
Make perception checks. As you head south towards that Naga chamber, and before you turn left.
14.
14's enough.
17.
The cat is back. You can almost not make it out in the shadow, but the cat is sitting no longer in a state of agitation, looking at the vortex. As you thunder down the corridor, no, I'm sure you're incredibly nimble and quiet. Burple, you notice it. A couple of you notice it. It sort of looks over at you and then looks back at the vortex. It's just sitting there.
How odd.
There you go. That's the cat.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do with the lake?
Fly over it.
I'll say to the cat, so what are you after?
It looks at you and it looks back at the vortex.
It's like, do you want to go out?
And its tail becomes erect.
Right.
I've got speak with animals.
Go for it.
Meow, meow, meow. Does it say anything?
Is it a spell?
I think it's a barbarian thing. You gain the ability to
do
comprehend
many
and
times
verbally
before.
communicate with beasts for the duration. 10 minutes. Knowledge.
You don't think it's a beast.
Well, so that it's a speak
Now
with
you
animals.
try and use your sorcerous ways, Lord Vader, to communicate with it. Your skills tend towards communicating with the beasts of the forest and the field. This thing's not an animal.
Parker
It just
has
looks like an
animal
animal.
handling.
Mm-hmm.
You could try that. Calm it down.
No, it
It's
seems
calm.
perfectly calm. It's just standing there looking at the vortex with its tail in the air.
What do you mean it's
Speak
not
celestial.
Have we tried speaking to it at all?
Yeah,
Cat.
I said, what is it you want? I'll ask it again in Celestial.
It responds to your question. It looks at you, as it were, intently,
Mm-hmm.
and then it looks back at the vortex and stands there looking at the vortex.
I think the vortex is the way to go. Ultimately, I think,
I just think the story and the clues are a little bit too cryptic.
Depends if we
They
what
are
we're
very
supposed to know. Yeah.
depends on how much we pay attention.
Yeah, that's probably the way we've got to go. But let's check out this south passageway first. Looks like a series of 10-foot jumps, Mike,
Yeah, amazingly.
which I think
It's
you can
doable
do automatically.
as jumps, but you can fly.
Yeah.
Buggy, we know, can jump about 200 feet. He's got his
Well, I haven't
magic
put my ring
boots.
on. Wouldn't mind a lift on the sweepstake.
Can't you jump on? Can't
I
you just?
can ferry Buggy across on the sweepstake and then Parker across.
Yeah. We're going to handwave this.
I don't want to use my
It's-
flying. That's all.
Okay, well, I can ferry
Right.
everyone across.
So, readers, we're now looking at the Lake of Worms, or ex-Lake of Worms, or what are we going to call it? Rebuilding Lake of Worms. There's an apron of rock that runs on the southern side of the cavern that the lake is in, and then a spur of passageway heading south, and they're assembling on that little lip of rock and advancing into the passageway. Passageway leads south 25 feet, it's 10 foot wide, to a set of heavy
Just as we go,
stone double doors.
Alessandra says, shall I just go ahead for a bit?
Yes, please.
Go on, Buggy.
Me? I'm not pro. It's probe. It's pro for the job.
Alessandra's going to let everybody else know just to stay quiet and stay still. She's going to fly down with her wings to the doors, and the first thing she's going to do is listen at the doors. She's going to put her ears
Listen.
to the doors.
Do you want to hear a secret?
I'll make a fart noise.
Num, num.
Getting a 22.
You hear nothing as you stand at those giant double doors. If they're anything like the doors that they resemble from upstairs, somebody would have to be making an awful lot of noise on the
Like
other side of them.
Big solid doors.
Huge, great, solid stone double doors.
Okay, what's the opening mechanism going on?
There is no opening mechanism. They just sit there.
No handles, nothing. It's just a blank doors. And anything on them at all? Any reliefs? Any graphics?
You've managed to push these doors open before. Parker managed to push them open.
There's no kind of writing or
No.
anything on them.
Nope,
They're just flat stone.
nothing. They're just exactly the same as the giant stone double doors upstairs.
Okay, I'm going to push one of them open.
Can everybody else make a perception check, please?
Perception only.
Or not. Or not.
I'm
You know.
just finding my dice. Go. 10.
Mhm.
Marvellous.
Oh, 25.
Oof, hello. Big numbers from... Yeah. There may have been a noise from the water behind you there, Sessions.
Ooh.
Ever so slight. Just a kind of ripple. Little, maybe a bubble.
Okay. I think I will signal that to my Yep, colleagues, and I will ascend to a reasonable height.
Alessandra pushing open the doors. Well, you can push them open. It's your full action.
Yep,
they are
that's
just
fine.
huge, great, heavy stone blocks. They grind open and reveal a chamber. The chamber is 25 foot by 30 feet. It's oddly opulent, but somehow weirdly alien. There's fine furniture, but it's placed at a weird... It's something unsettling about it's like kind of got negative... What's that thing from the 80s? Feng shui.
Feng shui.
Yeah, it's sort of negatively arranged in the sense that it makes you actively uncomfortable and unrelaxed. It's not random.
It's like our flat in Paris Fort Road.
Yes.
It's exactly like
Except, like I said, opulent and furnished in fine.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, all right.
The carpets have got weird, disconcerting imagery, like weird patterns that make you feel, I don't know, disoriented and uncomfortable. Tapestries are on the walls. It's the same. They also, tapestries are always traps. I think we've established that. The tapestries they're not depictive. They cover the wall to your left and your right. That is the walls to the east and the west. And they are weird out of, like the geometry of the patterns is all wrong and makes you feel a bit flippy and a bit weird. Like Bridget Riley, like lines and geometric shapes that sort of draw you in and make you feel unsettled. The far side of the room, the southern wall, bears 4 pictures, 4 pieces of art. Left to right, the first 3 pictures show the city of Kuluthmar that you have seen in your visions from before, as in its pre-ruined state, when it was whole, intact and thriving. 3 views of the city from 3 different angles, with the ziggurat and the spire clearly visible in the centre, as it were the focal point of each picture.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th picture is a picture of you. The 5 of you.
Really?
Standing in a row.
Spooky.
It's a little crude. It feels like it's not of this age. It feels like give me an intelligence check, Alessandra.
19.
You're no art critic.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's just a
That's a compliment.
point I had to make about Paul. It's nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
You're no art critic.
The style, you think it's not contemporary. You think that it was painted a long time ago.
Time travel.
In fact, the paintings are contemporaneous with each other.
Oh my god.
At a guess. You can tell it's recognisably you, but it's not drawn or painted from life. Or if it is, it's so stylised that you'd have to be you to know that it was you. That's a better way of putting it.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what you got. 4 pictures.
And that's what we need. Well, 3 of them.
It all seems very alien. It all seems very weird. The pictures don't seem to be part of the rest of the room's decor. The rest of the room's decor seems to be the product of some strange alien mind. The pictures seem to be hung there against that backdrop.
So I think we need a
Why did he say he
spellcaster
wanted the pictures?
to let us go.
Yes.
Was there any reason that he wanted
Oh, the
them?
beholder?
Yeah.
Said
Yeah.
To break the curse.
Yes, it was paraphrasing. The beholder intimated that the ownership of the pictures would reinforce the beholder's ability to control the city.
Should we get a spellcaster up here just to do a detect magic?
Well, I'm going to first of all do see invisibility.
So Alessandra's kind of indicating to the rest of the party to kind of make their way up.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cast detect magic, and then I will move up.
The only magical things in the chamber are the pictures.
All right.
And only the first 3 pictures are magical.
Yeah.
The weird picture of you is not magical in and of itself.
Okay.
The other 3 pictures bear an enchantment aura of sort of tolerable strength.
Okay.
Give me an Arcana check.
I'll
7.
I'll have a go.
7. Okay, there we are. And there's nothing invisible or ethereal in the chamber.
Okay. I will report back
Oh, dear.
to the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm. Team, hi, gather round.
So we need
So-
the pictures.
Okay.
If we
Shall I
take
go in
the
South
pictures,
portal.
Alessandra, you need to check the floor for traps
Yeah.
and the pictures for traps.
Alessandra's going to start
investigation checks. Start fingertip checking the... Yeah, give me a couple of investigation checks.
Let me just...
No rush.
Yeah, I mean, whenever. I told you you've been drinking.
I have not been drinking.
Some kind of Christmas do. No, not a Christmas do.
No.
Some kind of...
January. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It's the
dry January.
He's been wassailing. No, he's been wassailing.
It's the 12th of December.
Some epiphany thing.
It's the 12th of December.
I told you it was off his face.
It's the 12th of December.
That was a month ago, Paul.
Right, so that's 12.
Been pickled all that time.
Actually, that's not 12. That's a 16.
See what I mean? Right. Okay, I mean, it's basically... the whole thing's falling apart, isn't it, Paul? Well, everything seems to be as it appears to be.
I'll keep...
are you lifting a tapestry?
Oh, natural 20. So that makes
it... you can feel
a
super
26.
Confident. You'd find absolutely nothing.
Right, so going to go up to pictures.
How big are these pictures?
Caveat is, I am assuming that you have not... This is not a euphemism. Lifted the carpet.
No.
Moved the furniture or lifted a tapestry.
No, not yet. I am going to go up to the pictures, and I'm going to do a bit more of a...
They're like landscape, and they're about a couple of feet by a foot, so they're not huge.
No, but I'm trying to check how they're attached to the wall.
They're hanging. They're the framed pictures. They're just hanging from, I don't know.
Hanging from picture wire. Picture hooks. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to check to see if there's any trappage. For exactly, if I
assume what you lift the picture off the wall and the hook clicks back and the tapestries drop and
16.
Well, doesn't look like it. No, they look just like they're completely normal.
I turn around to the others and kind of say, I suggest you get out of straight line, so get around the corner just in case something shoots down the corridor while I lift this off. Yeah.
Okay. I'll back up around the corner.
Back up around the corner. Back up around the corner.
Purple as well. Parker.
Purple's going to stay with us. All right, I'm going to lift the first one off.
Nothing happens.
Parker will keep an eye on what's going on.
I'll pass it over to Purple.
Okay.
I'll lift.
I'm saying it's landscape, you lot.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to do landscape. I'm just going to lift them off one after the other.
Nothing happens when you lift and recover any of those pictures.
Okay. And then I'll leave the one of us there. I don't think we need it.
Mm-hmm.
And then shall we go up and complete this part? Or
is that it? Is that we've done this complex? Seems missing something.
Well, what we're missing is going down the vortex. But I suspect there'll be other opportunities to do so if we want to.
We didn't kill the six-arm thing, did we?
No. Six-arm thing was interested in where the prophecies were, but we haven't recapped on the prophecies.
I don't think we'll ever.
We haven't talked about prophecies. We talked about visions.
Yeah.
I think we save our prophecy chat,
prophetic,
for another night.
We're going into the vortex.
You got your landscapes.
Let's go out.
Okay. So we've got hang on. We've got two avenues that we can explore. The first is where the Kyuss Knights are, so we can go and fully explore that area. I suspect there's nothing in that place. We did sort of look it over. The other is through the vortex into the shadow realm.
Yeah.
Sorry, ask a silly question.
Go on.
What are we doing here?
Well,
we're collecting the three. The mission really was to collect the three pictures.
Well, they're just to get us out, let us get out.
Yeah,
but the main reason?
The main reason, the Marcus Doombringer reason, was there was somebody who'd come this way many years ago, and we were out to try and find them, wasn't it?
Rabadabadas.
Yeah, Rabadabadas.
Of the Robadobadub.
Find some information.
Yeah, you know him.
No.
Didn't we just... We had to find out what was going on at Kulith Mar and then report back. Was that it?
Marcus told you that Rabadabadas...
Of the Robadobadub.
Had become obsessed with Kulith Mar.
You know him?
No.
Oh. Had become obsessed with Kulith Mar and believed that there were many more secrets about the story of Kyuss to be unearthed by exploring it.
And we have.
And then zapped off somewhere else.
So we have got the secrets of Kyuss. We have got the secrets.
We've had visions, so we've got things to report back,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about whether or not...
Two options really then. Continue to explore or go back and consult.
I think go back and consult because we might go up a level and there's always an option that we will be able to come back to go back down the vortex if we want to. And if not, I reckon the vortex will appear again. Our opportunity to get to the Shadow Realm won't be the only time.
Agreed?
If it's important.
Should we be trying to find the 6-arm guy and trying to kill him?
No, I don't. Well, I don't think we will be able to kill him.
I think he's likely to be in the Shadow Realm, isn't it? He's a interdimensional being. That's what I'm suggesting we might want to go.
I don't think we'll be able to kill him. And also, let's go up a level first. If we do, we may not be able to go up a level. We might, in which case we'll just come back down again.
Okay, so Paul wants to go back.
Yep.
Johnny?
I don't mind having a quick sneaky peek in the Shadow Realm, although when I was there, there was nothing.
I'm not going to go down there. Not yet.
But now there's a creature in the lake, isn't there? In the Shadow Realm. There might be something in the Shadow Realm that we need in the lake.
And we can come back and get it. We can go and do it then. There's no I don't think any harm in going out and coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I would figure out what this picture thing is all about. It might give us some insight.
Well, that's the other question. Do we give the pictures to the beholder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because then it will let us out.
Well, we could just dimension the door back to...
We could just... Yeah. But it's kind of like going... It's by doing it, it might give us more story, which will reveal more stuff. By not doing it, that won't happen.
Yeah, but it might be bad.
We could do the Rabadabadas thing. Marcus Doombringer.
Oh, the Robber-Dobber-Dob?
Do you know it?
Yep.
We could leave the pictures here.
No, not really.
And come back. Go back, see Marcus without the pictures, or even take the pictures with us.
I would take... Now that we've got them, I would take
stick them in a bag of holding.
Yeah.
Along with that diary of your mum's. I'll put it in the bag of holding, just to look after it.
No, it's all right.
It's okay, I've got plenty of room.
It's fine.
All right, well, in which case, let's just go back to Marcus.
It's quite interesting. I was reading it last night. Right.
You better not have been.
8 hours in the bank there. Nice.
Right. Right, and...
What's that you're reading, Burple? Nothing.
It's just my mum's diary.
The 8-hour rest, of course. Should have realised.
So should we teleport back?
Yep.
You've got the scroll of teleportation. Well, that is how it was described to you. Marcus explained it would whisk you back to the teleportation circle in his underwater base of operations. Do you want to use it? Do you want to use it here? What do you want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got the jars with the different words in, haven't we?
Holds it. Somebody has to...
Yeah,
I don't want to be like
Isn't it my thing?
Somebody needs to say, I am opening the scroll, I am reading the scroll, I am casting
Graham's got
the
spell,
spell. And then I will tell you
I'm going to put the decision onto him.
Mm-hmm. I used it last night while you were reading your book.
He's come back.
I've been back.
He's got a suntan and new trousers.
A magical cloak.
Stash of teeth and replenish.
I wondered whether or not Sessions was going to start running out of
Sessions turns up in a Hawaiian shirt in the morning.
Yeah. Freshly shaved.
Oh, dear. Smelling of rose.
Anyway, sorry, what are we doing? What are you going to do?
We're off on a weird tangent there.
Yeah, that was odd.
Any moment now.
Well, it's up to Graham,
Sessions
really.
is going to...
Any moment now.
Sessions is going to read the scroll.
Okay, so let's... is that what we're doing?
Yes.
I produce the scroll. I read the scroll, I suppose.
That's it. You're going to take out the scroll. You're casting the spell.
I will cast the spell. Take us home.
You wave your hand in the air. You start to release the magical energy from the scroll. And we will find out whether or not the scroll whisks you away.
Oh, really?
The Ziggurat of Kyuss and back to the wise counsel of Marcus.
Yeah.
Or whether or not you're lost in the time streams, banished to a far place, or just go nowhere, or whatever. Anyway, we'll find that out when we pick things up next week.
Next week, Monday the 19th of December.
Stop it. Honour the format.
The Billowing Hilltop Podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Spire of Long Shadows and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Spire of Long Shadows was written by Jesse Decker. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening!